there is big news for Baylor men's basketball. What is it exactly? And I apologize for looking down because I cannot memorize all this stuff. Baylor men's basketball has added somebody in the midseason, and the player could start playing as early as Monday, December 29th against Arlington Baptist. If not, it will be in January. We have to wait and see when he does officially play, though. The player is James Nnaji. He's 6'11" or 7 feet tall, depending where you look, and 250 pounds. He does have a wingspan of 7'7". He is 21 years old, but he was granted 4 years of eligibility. We'll see how many years of eligibility does he really take and all this. He did start his professional career at Ratcatcher Academia, or like a with an A with the apostrophe over it. TG, like a E with the apostrophe BER, in Academia AKAD, E with the apostrophe MIA, from 2019 to 2020. Now 2020 to 2025, FC Barcelona, and he joined FC Barcelona B in 2020, and from there he moved up to the A team in 2021. And on August 4th in 2024, he was loaned to Girona of the Spanish Liga ACB. And Nnaji's spell at Girona ended in March of this year after a mutual agreement between the club and the player. On March 28th, FC Barcelona announced Nnaji would spend the remainder of the season on loan at Zinfindi Bella DEC Denizli, MERKEZEFENDI BELEDIYESI of the Basketball Super League, which is a Turkish league. I will say, though, he was drafted in the NBA back in 2023. Second round pick, 31st overall, to the Detroit Pistons. But his rights were later traded to the Charlotte Hornets and later the New York Knicks. He never played in an NBA game ever. And this is like another case in pushing back the curtains on NCAA's powers, especially after it was determined that G League players could return to college basketball. If you haven't noticed some of that already, and I'm going to go over some of the stats now, like FC Barcelona 2020 to 2024, before he went to Girona, Spanish Liga ACB, averaged 5.3 points per game, 4.1 rebounds per game, 0.8 blocks per game across 14 contests. 2024, 2025, part of that Turkish league he played for, 7.5 points per game, 4 rebounds per game, and 1.3 blocks per game in 8 contests. Baylor was already going to probably explore an option of adding somebody in the midseason, given that Michael Perez was out for the year back in August with a torn ACL, And it's not even mentioning the Jocelyn Bodo wrist injury. We'll have to wait and see about him, but there might be an announcement at some point that he's going to have to red shirt for the year. And we already know Mayo Soyoye is redshirting as well. They agreed to it back in the offseason. Thus, they only had like one true big guy that could play right away. And that's Caden Powell. This does help matters, to say the least. I do think James Nnaji should be starting immediately. It's more like, who is going to be on the bench now? There's no way Cam Carr and Tunde Yesufu are going to be bench players. There's just no way. So it's probably one of Obi Agban, Michael Ratai, and Dan Skillings that's going to be a bench player. And this does bring up the quality depth back up to 8 players now. And it's not even mentioning, what if J.J. White comes back eventually for Baylor, then it would be 90. So this is definitely helpful for the rest of the year, to say the least. You got to have more size, and that's probably the biggest weakness they had in all this. And we already know the Big 12 is a gauntlet in men's basketball as it is, so this definitely helps. We'll have to wait and see what happens, and I do think this team's ceiling has been elevated with the addition. I do believe that. And hopefully Baylor men's basketball could stay healthy for the rest of the year. Just a quick heads up. This is what I call an early Christmas present, to say the least.